Hi, everyone. I know it's been a long, long time since I've spoken to you guys and put out a video. I definitely want to kind of like change up the channel and do some new stuff, add a lot of different things. I already had like a million things in my mind that I wanted to do. But for this specific video, I'm definitely going to focus on like employment and wages and stuff like that. So basically, I want to share with you my experience working in ABA, which is called, which stands for Applied Behavioral Analysis. And this type of therapy can be used with really in for anything to increase or decrease behaviors. You always want to decrease unwanted and like increase the desired or wanted behavior. So I did go back to school for that and everything, and I really want to do like a Risa Tisa style type of story about my personal experience and like some major betrayal that I experienced with a previous employer. So, I'm also going to discuss some of the like issues such as the slave wages, the things that they do, like pay everyone the same, even though they may have um an exponential amount of difference in like education and experience and just lowballing people who are way overqualified to be in the field. How there's just it's an incredible amount of misogyny, and I'm pretty certain of some racism there as well. Um, so I want to talk to you more about like working in ABA and just my personal experience, the things that I would say is my perspective on how these companies behave. But feel free to go on Reddit and listen and read all the stuff that people talk about on there. If you go to Reddit, ABA, oh my God, so many people discuss how horrible it really is. And being in the field for like ridiculous amounts of time. I do remember a colleague who had a tremendous amount of background in ABA, and they still made her go through a like, a process. It's like the goalpost always moves, even like it does in ABA. But in real life, it's like no matter how many degrees you already have, it's like not enough. Now you need a license. Well, the license isn't enough. You need something else, it's always something else. Well, you didn't have the experience. So first you need to do this and then you can get some like decent pay. And it's like, I don't think so. But here in the state of Louisiana, typically, um, a behavior technician in ABA, and this is with a variety of companies here in the state of Louisiana, they will pay people as low, I've seen as low as $13 per hour. So typically you're going to work like a school day anyway, because the objective is to help children. Now they're going as young as a year and a half up to like age 7, but they usually go beyond that. They might go up to, age 13, or like at one center I worked at, they did have like a 17-year-old girl there. Now she was saying she was 17, 18, but I don't know. Maybe she was lying because it was like she was still in high school. And I was like, well, wait, you just said you've been here for years. You've been here as long as I've been here at the company. I've been here like 3.5 years, and you still in high school, but you was 18 at the time that I met you. I was like, no, that doesn't sound correct. But I know that sometimes they will let them, especially if they started school late, they'll let them stay in the school up to age 21, but she was like really high functioning, and I think she was performing pretty well, like academically in school. So there would have been no point for her to be in um in school at age 21 unless she started late, which is a possibility. You never know. Um but basically, so they'll start as low as 13, but on average it's like 15, $16 per hour. However, the problem is whether you have a GED or a PhD or an MD, they want to pay everybody the same based on this title. And the only way you can like earn more is if you become a BCBA and you become, ooh, excuse me, had a popcorn kernel. Um, you become a BCBA, which is a board certified behavior analyst, and you have to become licensed, which always requires going back to school and additional like money to pay for that. Now some companies will be like, "Oh, we do tuition reimbursement." Get everything in writing, y'all. Do not let these people mess you over. Get everything in writing and have them explain it like very specifically how you get the money. Like, oh, after you complete this semester, after you put up the money, we'll reimburse you. You'll reimburse me how? Like in installments in the total amount that I spent for the semester on everything, books, paper, pens, index cards. What are you paying for exactly? I need a detailed itemized list. And I'm gonna need everything in writing. Everything in writing. Um, so some will do like tuition reimbursement and stuff like that, but it don't even be worth it from my perspective. Like if I still have to come up with the money myself, that's the problem. Like you need to just go ahead and do tuition assistance and say, here, we're gonna pay for everything. And the moment you fail, we stop. That's just the end. Until you pay for it yourself and then pick it back up. And when you pick up your grades again, then you can return. But you also want to know exactly like how your work schedule is gonna, go. But typically we will work, the school hours from like 8 to 4. Now, at one center, they did have like afternoon sessions that went from like 4 to 6 p.m. for like the older kids. So they would come after school to work on like social skills because they were already getting like academics, which let me tell y'all, it is so sad what they do to the kids who have disabilities in the schools. Some of the teachers are really struggling to provide adequate educational services to kids with disabilities, because if you're dealing with a bunch of, even though it's only a handful, but if all of them have behavioral issues, there's no way you're going to get any teaching done. You have to manage the behaviors before you can even begin to work on the academics. So yeah, it's terrible. But even when you have like less behavioral issues, teachers are not always equipped with the information or skill set to properly assess each child to figure out, okay, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and where do I go from there? Like, what do I tackle for that child so that they can gain the skill sets that they need. Um, and I don't even know if the school covers certain things. Like I knew one teacher was like, "Oh, I just want him to learn how to have a conversation with me." Great idea. But is that something we cover in the school system? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's in his IEP plan, like, hey, he needs to learn how to have a conversation with people. Or if he was really supposed to be learning some type of academics and you needed to figure out that, and her other complaint was like, oh, well, he doesn't know how to like focus. I was like, that's definitely true. He does have a great difficulty focusing. um and I was just like, well, she wanted him to be able to do work independently, but we have to create a system and he has to have work to do in order to do it independently. So if you're like, hey, we're all going to work on, math skills, and everybody has a different worksheet, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to teach this one, and then I'm going to teach that one, and then I'm going to teach that one. I only knew like one special education teacher that really had a great rhythm for that. And I mean, she was on different subjects. It was just like amazing to see her work. Like she was like, okay, this one's on such and such a math, and that one's on such and such an English, and this one has history, and that one has science. And honey, she would do a 20-minute session for each one of them kids and give them their work. But another issue, like just working in ABA, is not only the slave wages that they pay us. Yeah, $15, $16 an hour at like 35 to 40 hours per week is just weak. It is so not enough money to like pay rent. It's significantly below, and it was like laughable. So I did look at this one job, and it was all the way up in Massachusetts, and it was absolutely like hilarious how low the pay was. And I at first I thought it was like 57K and up, but it said up to 57K a year to be like an ABA teacher. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and apply. But once she said up to 57, and then I started looking um like into the cost of living and like the cost of like a one bedroom apartment in that area, and it was ridiculously like significantly over the amount. So even if you were to get the top pay, which would have been 57K, yeah, 7K, yeah, not a whole lot, but definitely better than down here. um and they wanted to pay like, I mean, the cost of a one bedroom apartment was like $2,200 a freaking month. And I was like, baby, I would need at least 85K a year just to afford to live somewhere near, you know, work. Otherwise, I'll be traveling, I'll be commuting. And I was like, I don't even know the Massachusetts area like that. So, like, the cheapest place was, of course, in Boston. Like the most affordable place within the income. So even if they gave me like top level pay, it was like, yes, we'll take you and we'll give you 57K. That was in Boston, and I was like, I didn't even see the apartment. Like, you couldn't physically see a picture of the apartment to know that it was like anything decent, anything worthwhile, and you don't even know the area to be like, okay, I know I'll be safe. I know it'll be clean. It's not like a complete rat hole, roach motel type of situation going on there. Um, yeah, it was incredibly laughable, and the lady was just like, well, this is a bachelor's level job, and I was like, no ma'am, like, why did you even entertain me? I have a master's. No. So like, working in the field too can be very dangerous. We don't always have health insurance because we just can't afford it, because it's such a low paying job. Even though you have lots of education and experience, and they want you. They want the people with the experience. They want the people with the higher levels of education, but they do not want to pay you accordingly. They do not want to pay you a commensurate level of pay. And they don't want to differentiate your pay from other people's based off of your education and experience and say, hey, we're going to give you extra duties um, in order to, um, justify differentiating the pay. They'll say, oh, we can't do it. We just want to pay everybody the same. And it's like, no, no, you need to do better. And I'm hoping women and women of color, people of color in general, start advocating for themselves and saying, the answer is no. I will figure it out how to, pay these bills without you, and I'll go do something else. Um, and it's like every employer, I swear to God. Like, I just recently applied to something else, and it was like working at a hospital. And she was like, yeah, they're looking for someone. And I was like, okay, what's the pay? She was like, ready to hire me. I was like, that's great. But what's the pay? Because I want to negotiate that. And she was like, it's 15 an hour. And I was like, I made way more than that at my last job. There's no way I'm gonna take that 15 an hour, you know. And let me tell you, as long as you don't go so far outside of what they usually pay, like the top pay is, you can get them to go ahead and budge, baby. Don't even think that they don't got the money. They do. They have it. They just don't want to share it with you. So you need to make sure you set the standard, and that you say to them, no, look at my credentials, look at my background. So do you want to stay with your GED person who has less than a year of work experience in general, or do you want this person here that's sitting before you? Let them make the decision. Be prepared to walk away. Have other options open, okay? And don't be afraid of entrepreneurship, because this is exactly where I'm headed. I'm headed to entrepreneurship because I'm all done with the BS of working for these ABA companies. They can blow a kiss to my colossal brown tush. That's what they can do. Yep, that's how I'm feeling. So I just want to let y'all know I'll be back on to talk more about this whole ABA company situation. I hope to hear, from anybody who else has experience like working in ABA and like the pay being commensurate with the level of the cost of living and people's credentials. I would love to hear from other people across the world and here in the US. Thanks.